Hi, this is Peter, and I'm gonna show you how to install a CISS system for this HP 8500. This continuous ink system also works for the HP 8000. The type of cartridges that this printer uses is a HP 94 cartridge, and this is what we're gonna go ahead and do for this printer. The thing about this printer and this continuous ink system is that this continuous ink system doesn't come with any chips on the cartridges, so you have to actually remove the chip off the original HP cartridges using an X-Acto knife, such as this one right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do that. So earlier I went ahead and removed the chip off of the black cartridge, and as you can see from the continuous ink system right here, that the chip is already installed onto the black cartridge. I use super glue to go ahead and adhere the original chip onto this cartridge. So I'm going to show you how to remove it off of another cartridge right now. The thing to note is once you remove your cartridge, for example this yellow one, I'm going to go ahead and take this one out, is that when you do install the chips, be careful not to damage the chips itself, and to also notate, compare the original cartridge to the CISS system cartridge, such as this, to see where the chips are supposed to be placed. So everything is arranged properly here, so you know you got to remove this chip and put it against this wall, and once again use super glue to adhere it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and start actually digging underneath this chip. This chip is almost like a sticker. If you could kind of see right here, it's almost like a sticker. It's like a really thin sticker. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is slowly dig into the corner underneath the sticker, and I'll just wiggle this X-Acto blade underneath it, digging underneath the chip. The thing that's holding it back, holding it onto this cartridge, it's actually a sticky backing. So hold on one second. Try to slowly dig this in while you get the angle. Chip is almost off, and as you can see, it came right off like that. On the back of the chip is that white sticky backing that I mentioned. Some people try to install this onto the cartridge just using this sticky backing, but I recommend not to do that, because sometimes if you pull the cartridge out, the chip might fall out, and the chip is so puny that you could just easily lose it. So once again, I'm going to double check my chip placement. And I remember I took it out from here, so I'm going to go ahead and install it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and reach over and grab a little bit of my glue. And I'm going to apply a little bit of glue. You don't need too much to get this thing to stick in there. So just barely any glue. Ooh, that drop should be enough. It's kind of quick, so you couldn't see that process, but basically you get the idea. So once you get that chip on there, if you accidentally touch the face of this chip, you go ahead and clean it with rubbing alcohol and Q-tips. But in the meantime, just try not to damage the face of the gold contacts. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this chip onto the system and just slowly place it. Remember, once again, I'm just being real careful not to damage the chip, and I'm going to center it right where the square slot is at. See, since we put glue in there, you got to remember that the glue is there, and we got to kind of push it down to seat it down. I can use this thing and X-Acto knife and push down on it, but I find it a little bit easier using a syringe that came with your system and just push down on it. And just hold it there for a couple seconds. Give it time to actually let the glue set down for a little bit. Double checking my placement. If you accidentally put it in the wrong place, you could go ahead and take it back off and put it back on, which won't be a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna let that set. Also, if you notice inside the printer, the thing that if I take out the rest of these cartridges and you look inside the printer itself, you will see that the chip is right here on this side, right? So if you look deep inside the printer, you will see that the chip sensors are right here and right there. So that's where the chips touch. You're supposed to line up with that. So that's a thing that you need to just notate. You can also clean those little contacts inside there with Q-tips and rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna go ahead and continue taking the chips off of the cyan and the magenta, and and then I'll show you how to route the tubes. Okay, I just went ahead and finished removing all the chips and placing them onto the continuous ink system. Be sure you give the glue sufficient enough time to go ahead and set and dry up into place. If not, the chips are just going to flick right off and you're going to end up having to look for that chip inside your printer. So once you know that the chips are all set into place, go ahead and flip these cartridges upside down and put them inside your printer. As you put it inside your printer, just make sure everything lines up into place. There's little rails on the bottom. You won't be able to see that. Actually, let me go ahead and remove this. You see those little lines on the bottom right here? They have to go into there nice and neat. So make sure you do that. And don't push them all the way in until you know it feels good and that they're gonna lock into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this one in, push this one in, push this one in, push this one in. Okay. So after you do that, be careful with these little plastic elbows where the hoses are attached to. These hoses are attached to these little plastic elbows which are inserted into the cartridge. These are a little bit fragile and these could break, but these can be replaced. So just be careful and not to manhandle these little connections right here. So go ahead and also notice that right here in this spot is a little switch. And if I close this lid, this little plastic piece pokes into there and it tricks the print. It basically tells the printer that this cartridge lid is closed. So what you fortunately, the way HP designed this printer, when I close this lid down onto the hoses, it doesn't cramp these hoses too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually do that right now. Once you close it, it's all ready to go. But the last step that you should do is go ahead and, if you look on top of your continuous ink system, there's two plugs, a big plug and a small plug. You have to remove this little small plug for each color. You might want to use gloves for this if you're afraid of getting ink on your hands. Remove each one of these small little plugs, and inside your CISS you're going to get these 4 air filters. And if you look at the air filter, one side is thicker than the other. You're going to go ahead and insert the thick side going down on each one of these little holes. This is your air filter. When you run low on ink, be sure to fill it up from here, this plug. Just go ahead and remove this one and insert the ink in there. And every time you refill it, don't top it off all the way to the top. Try to keep the same level as where the continuous ink system, how it originally came in, which is like about an inch gap from the top. So after you insert all these air filters, go ahead and place this next to your printer, and go ahead and insert this into. And make sure that the continuous ink system is on the same surface that your printer is sitting on. Do not elevate the continuous ink system higher, or else ink will leak into the printer because gravity's pulling on the ink. Once that gravity starts pulling on it, it's gonna keep pulling until there's no more ink and it'll leak into your printer. You don't want that. So that's the basic installation for the HP 8500. And if you look on top of our ink level indicator shows it's off full because I removed the chips off of these full cartridges. Eventually these will deplete, but it won't lock up your printer and you will still continue to print. So I'm going to go ahead and print out a quick copy real quick. I have an image on the scanner bed, so it's going to go ahead and print out a quick copy. It's going a little bit slow because I picked the highest quality setting. But as you can see, the print right here, it's basically as good as the original. So that's the installation for the HP 8500. If you have any questions, feel free to give our customer service reps a call and we'll be more than happy to assist you.